mountains of lore behind them that I instantly got interested in.
Oh, really?
Them. I went from knowing next
Lore,
to
you say? I believe we're in like the final 20, so expecting to see some Thorgi's personal favorites in here. Some weird ones, definitely. I don't think Thorgi's going to be the type to put in, like, I don't know, one of the most popular fighting games out currently as his number one. It's definitely going to be something that probably neither I nor Serbia have heard of. But of course, if you haven't already for some reason, link to the OG video is at the very top of the description. Please go and support Thorgi. 200k next time? Maybe.
Number 19, the Guilty Gear XX Accent Core series.
Yeah,
I'm just going to throw all the XX games in here because outside of Street Fighter 2, this might be the most re-released fighting game ever. When you look at how many versions of this there are...
I can never remember which one comes first when it comes to the XX games. It is just so confusing to me.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I just know, you know, Guilty Gear Strive. That's good enough.
With Accent Core Plus, Accent Core Plus R, not to mention all the XX games before Accent Core got slapped on the label. It's too many to split up. And again, it's one of those games where I kind of experienced all of them together, so I just think of them all as one thing. Now, I know there's a huge argument between Guilty Gear fans about what's better, Accent Core or Xrd Rev, and when it comes to the gameplay, I honestly don't know which one of them I pick. They're real neck and neck for me. However, the Accent Core series pulls ahead partly because I really love its single-player content, way before we got fighting games with big story mode.
That's very fair.
Seeing Potemkin's face, kind of a bit of a whiplash. Sometimes, honestly, you forget that he's just a dude underneath that entire guise. I've watched so many reactions to Guilty Gear. I mean, I believe my reaction to Guilty Gear was the same, where it's like, is that a robot? No.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
He's just a really big man.
Yup.
This was probably the peak of stories in fighting games. Each character got long tails with splitting pathways, which was such a cool idea, and a great way to introduce new players to this world, which was very important for me because this was my first Guilty Gear. Yeah, that's the big reason it's this high.
Oh, Zappa for Guilty Gear Strive 2.0? Maybe? Because we're already getting Robokai and Jam basically confirmed. But, like, who are the other characters that are coming with 2.0?
I was looking for a new fighting game, went to the store, looked for the cheapest used game I could find, saw this for the Xbox, and words can't describe the trip this took my brain on. It had this badass rocker vibe that I was all about back then. The characters were all so stylish. This was at a time in which 2D fighting games were starting to die off and it was getting harder and harder to find a new one. But this game wasn't just a 2D fighter, it was a 2D fighter with amazing sprite work. Every single character looked so good. In fact, speaking of that, this was a time in which a lot of fighting games were leaning away from the super anime aesthetic of the arcade era. But this game opened up with a full-blown intense anime intro that unapologetically tells you, oh, things are heavy and they're about to go to some strange places. Giant robots, a post-apocalyptic world, characters screaming out their big super moves as they go flying at each other. It was everything that I had been missing from fighting games. The speed and the agility of the combat mixed with these character designs made me want to go through this entire roster and play everyone and learn all about them.
I'm really glad that Daisuke has a very specific taste, and he just kind of sticks with it, regardless of what's happening around him.
I love that Guilty Gear kept all of this, even in their transition to 3D. Like, so many games lost a lot of that style from when they were 2D fighters to 3D.
I mean, look at King of Fighters, right? Where there was definitely some sauce with the 2D. We're still kind of trying to figure it out with the 3D, but we're definitely heading in the right direction. Guilty Gear, I don't think the transition was as rough because there was just some very talented people over at ArcSys. And honestly, you know, this is kind of their baby. Like, it's sort of the ArcSys game. When you think of ArcSys, you probably think of Guilty Gear and BlazBlue.
And then I discovered the instant kills. Oh my god, I went through this entire roster trying to land them all in combat because this was such a crazy new idea. When I first found this game, I used to bring people over to my place just so I could introduce them to it. And I would show them this game the same way that you would show someone that secret vinyl that you found in the back of a record shop that nobody knows about. Like, oh, you want to hear something cool? Well then listen to this. And you know something? I think that's exactly how Daisuke Ishiwatari would want you to introduce this game to your friends.
Oh,
Number
yeah.
18.
Namco.
Transcending history and the world, a tale of souls and swords.
Yeah, Soul Calibur,
eternally
yeah.
told.
Which one, though?
Soul Calibur
2.
I already said when Soul Calibur first arrived, it was a game changer. It kicked the door down and declared that a new...
Oh, wait. Yeah, I think this was the only Soul Calibur that I actually have tried, because I believe this one is on the Nintendo Switch Online package. So you can actually play it on your Switch. It's been pretty fun. I've certainly been enjoying the little bits and pieces I played of the single-player campaign.
era of fighting games was here. So imagine how wild it is that they managed to do that exact same thing twice in a row. Okay, first things first. Graphics, still amazing. Presentation, still top-notch. Still got that legendary announcer. But the game now introduced tons of great characters, including Talim, who would actually be my main in this series for several installments. And compared to the previous game, this thing loaded itself up with bonus content. The extra weapons you could unlock, Conquest and Weapon Master mode both had me hooked for hours and hours. But let's be real, the big appeal of Soul Calibur 2 and the thing that became one of the defining features of this entire franchise were the guest characters. Guest characters weren't anything new in fighting games before, but this was the game that made people go from, oh, that's neat that they got that character in there, to, holy crap, they got that character in there. And the wild thing is, it had 3 guest characters, 1 for each console, which, okay, yes, now that I'm an adult and I'm looking back at it, I realize, oh wow, that's actually pretty sleazy. You're basically forcing people to buy multiple copies of the game. But at the time, when everybody was still hyped up on the whole console...
Okay, actually, I did not know that Spawn was here.
Fucking
Not gonna
Spawn.
lie. Yeah, I knew Link was. I did not know Spawn. But I do recall you guys telling me in the comments that there was something similar to this, or you were describing probably Soul Calibur 2, actually, that there were like console exclusive crossover characters, which kind of sucks. But I guess from a kid's perspective, I can see how that'd be like a neat idea, where it's like, my copy of the game has Spawn in it, while mine has Link from The Legend of Zelda in it. I'm cooler.
All the kids who knew Spawn.
Of all the kids, was Spawn just not very popular among the kiddos? I guess it wasn't directed at them,
It's
judging
not
from
a
the story.
kid's comic.
Yeah,
Not even
that's
remotely.
That's fair. I don't know. Maybe I'm weird. I think I would have liked it a lot as a kid.
I mean, I watched the Spawn cartoon when I was probably 15, 16, so maybe I was a little young for it. But yeah, it's not a kid's show. Not a kid's comic.
What do you mean? It's nice. It's family friendly. It's Christian approved. It's Spawn.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, my mom would love it.
Wars debate, I thought it was awesome. That's right, I was stupid when I was a teenager. We all were. Plus, the previous Soul Calibur was the first game to make me think, oh wow, this is just as good as the arcade.
Thailand?
I don't need to go to the arcades to get this level of gameplay and graphics. But when Soul
Looks
Calibur
very
2
much like
came
one of our
out, the
temples.
arcade scene was kinda dead. So the fact that this game not only included a ton of single-player content, but also include characters who were specific to each console, it was kind of cool. It made a lot of us think, oh wow, maybe the consoles really are where it's going to be at for fighting games from now on. You had Heihachi from Tekken, Spawn, which I assure you in the early 2000s actually was kind of a big deal, and then on the Nintendo GameCube, you had Link from Legend of Zelda.
Okay,
and
that makes a lot of
you better
sense.
believe that's the version I got. Still to this day, I cannot believe that Nintendo let someone else just put Link in one of their fighting games. And this game also gets points for nostalgia for me because when I got to college, my friends and I were hooked on this game. We were playing it every
Nintendo
single...
liked for a while getting their console exclusive like rights by giving them character IP.
Nintendo back in the day was a different company.
That is also true.
From a lot of the things they've done to, like, you know, Bayonetta collabing with Playboy is probably not going to be a thing they're ever going to do again in the current state of things.
Was that before or after Nintendo bought Bayonetta?
I
Because
would
Bayonetta
have
was not
to...
always a Nintendo game.
That I did not know. It was a factoid that I did learn about from, I think it was one of Bumble's videos. I don't recall it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I do know they collabed with Playboy at some point, though.
That's why a lot of the marketing for Bayonetta 2 had Bayonetta in the funny Nintendo costumes, because they're like, look, she's Nintendo now.
And Bayonetta...
And everyone's like, that's the property Nintendo went after? Okay, sure.
Nintendo cultured back in the day? Kind of base, not gonna lie. And then they won't put Mai in Smash. How dare they? How dare you, Sakurai? I'll never forgive you!
Which is another reason why I love Link, because I had a friend who played Nightmare all the time, and he loved to keep all us out with that giant sword of his, so the moment I realized Link could outzone him with his bow and arrow, oh, that was a game changer. That might be the closest I've ever come to main a zoner. So yeah, we can criticize the guest characters all we want, but again, this is my list and nostalgia is playing a large factor in it, and those memories of playing Soul Calibur 2 with my friends, you better believe that makes this my favorite Soul Calibur. Number 17.
Capcom presents.
MVC!
I don't know how many more times I can say this, but I like Capcom, I like Marvel, but I loved X-Men vs. Street Fighter and Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter. So seeing this game now expand to being the entire Capcom universe was huge, especially because I didn't even recognize some of these characters. I had no idea who Jin or Captain Commando was, but they and every other character were brought to life so well that I instantly loved them. And speaking for the Marvel side, we only got one new character. Well, okay, like 1.5 because we got
Marvel
War Machine, but that was just...
Capcom is probably where a lot of my Capcom knowledge comes from, to be honest. Because playing Marvel vs. Capcom 3, I definitely had never touched Darkstalkers. The only reason I know Morgana is from that. Felicia, is that a Darkstalkers character? I don't even know what she's from. That's the only reason I know her too. Mm-hmm. I had never played Resident Evil, so my entire image of Resident Evil for a long time was just Marvel vs. Capcom 3's Wesker. I can picture different Capcom characters from Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and that's to the extent of what I know of a lot of it.
Before we continue this conversation, I would like to correct you. Her name is Morrigan. She is very different from a talking cat.
That's my bad. Again, I don't know Darkstalkers. I barely know the characters.
We'll learn about that probably quite soon, actually.
Yeah, I'd love to go into it. It looks cool.
It is very cool. I love the style for it. I think you would enjoy the art style. My
mom forbid us from using Felicia, so...
I mean, she's practically naked.
She is basically naked. The fact that we could still play the game despite it is a miracle to this day.
Awesome. How did you get into it initially? Was it something that like you and your brother kind of asked for?
I have no idea how we got it initially. It's probably something we bought used at GameStop back in the day and just had fun with it. Neither of us were big fighting game people, and that was probably before I was super into comics.
I see.
But I definitely knew the Marvel side a lot more.
Just a reskin of Iron Man, but we only got one fully new character, and it was Venom. And if you were a kid in the 90s and you liked Spider-Man, then you liked Venom. That was just the rule. And they did an incredible job of bringing him to life. He wasn't just a Spider-Man reskin, which is what you would expect most people to do. They understood the character, and they gave him a ton of crazy symbiote moves, and I loved playing as Venom in this game. But from there, the stages were amazing. So many locations from both companies really making this feel like a clashing of worlds. And the final boss was Onslaught. And again, as a kid who was reading the comics at the time, picking a boss who was brand new and the current big focus of a massive comic book crossover event hit all the right buttons for me. And we have to talk about the secret characters. Yes, this roster is small, but they put in here so many recolors of other characters to spice it up, And this is another one of those games where I have a vivid memory of me carrying around a magazine with all the secret character codes and being stunned when I discovered they were not an April Fool's joke. No, they were real. I'd be willing to say that these recolors are just as iconic to this series as some of the actual fighters themselves. Shadow Lady, Orange Hulk, Mecha Zangief, Roll, Ryu being able to transform into all the other Shotos. I love stuff like this. You know, just that feeling of, we couldn't put a lot in here, so we had to get really weird and creative with it. Just that raw ingenuity and can-do attitude. Stuff like that defined the early Marvel era for me. Number 16.
Okay. I never thought I'd see the day where Chun-Li bowed at me and rockets shot out of her back. What is happening?
Giga Bash. Out of all the games that are going to be in the top 20,
this?
I can pretty much guarantee nobody saw this coming. Although it shouldn't be that much of a surprise, I bring this game up a lot on this channel. Released in 2022, this is a kaiju-themed party fighter, and I do not think there is a single game on this list that has more charm.
Okay. I'm not into party fighters, but if you add kaijus into it and you destroy a city, you maybe have my attention. Also quite recent, too.
I'm already sold.
Yeah.
The studio behind this game is Passion Republic Games, and passion is the right word. You can feel the love that this team has for giant monster movies. Each of these characters feel fun and memorable while clearly being inspired by other legendary kaiju.
Wait, Orochi? KOF flashbacks? Oh god.
The stages are loaded with interactables and breakable items and buildings, and yet each of them are completely different from each other. As for the combat, they nailed exactly what a kaiju-themed party fire should feel like. You feel big and powerful thundering around, but also light and quick enough that you can really explore these stages. And the extra content is mind-blowing. This was the first game of this studio making themselves, but they've been a work-for-hire studio for several years working on big Sony games. And you can tell they were saving up their pennies from those games because they pumped money into this. There are so many alternate costumes, unlockable characters, story modes, and special challenges that put the major AAA fighting games to shame. Seriously, this little passion project by an indie team has more content than about half of all the major fighting games released in the last decade.
Okay. Honestly, this was pretty, just give me a second. It's called Giga Bash, right? Is it on Steam? Please be on Steam. It is. It's 60% off right now.
What?
There's also a demo you can just download and play. Wait a minute. Okay, when does the sale end? 6 January?
Wishlist it.
Might pick it up, yeah. This looks like a lot of fun, actually. And I mean, it's you know, it's a party game, so you don't have to learn any inputs and stuff for it. Still technically a fighting game, though. This could be kind of fun to try out on stream. Oh, interesting. We have a Godzilla, Ultraman, Gamera Rebirth Ultimate Bundle? Holy shit. Did we actually just straight up cross over with the actual kaijus, too? Ultraman's in here, too?
Looks like it.
Hold
yeah,
up a minute. Okay, we might be cooking here. Okay, back to the video.
This game is clean, simple fun, boiled down to its purest form. You put this game on, you're going to start smiling. Number 15.
Damn it, I'm smiling just watching it.
Strive.
As soon as the music kicks in, you're just like, yep, let's go.
Bullshit doobie blazing.
Strive. Okay, I know some people are going to say putting Strive as the best Guilty Gear game is a controversial choice. But again, this is my list.
Okay. I can somewhat understand for the people who are OG fans of Guilty Gear, but as somebody who hopped in with Strive, yeah, I think it's like one of the best fighting games that we tried out so far, honestly, throughout our fighting game journey. It does have its issues, but I don't know, the style of the game itself was just so good that somebody like me who was afraid to even try fighting games decided to, you know what? Sure, Serby. Let's check out some of the lore for Guilty Gear. This game is the entire reason why we're here right now. So I do have a lot of
Strive is the
respect
game,
for it.
the fighting game that I put the most effort into trying my best to learn. I still failed, but I still have fun with it. So, you know, there's something to be said there.
You never know.
And I love the music. I love the characters. I love the art direction.
Someday, Serby, we might get back to it, and maybe this time around we can succeed. We can maybe start with simpler games first, and then work our way up.
The personal favorites, and when Strive dropped, it hit me like a Soul Bad Guy 5S in the gut. Now, in the interest of fairness, I will start by saying I do have problems with this game. The single-player content in here isn't just the worst in any Guilty Gear since the original. It's some of the worst single-player content in any modern-day fighting game. All you get in here is an arcade mode that does that thing that I hate where you can't set the difficulty level. It just drops it if you lose a round, and there's no way to bring it back up. Guys, stop doing that! Nobody likes it! Let us choose the difficulty we want to challenge the computer at, and if we lose, we can re-challenge it. That's the entire point of the challenge of an arcade ladder. Then after that, all you get is...
It's to the point where, at one point, we just decided, you know what, we're not going to even try. We're just going to look up a video of all the different interactions and possible interactions that you can have during an arcade mode.
Yeah.
It's just a lot easier that way. God bless whoever uploaded those videos. Thank you very much. There was no way I was beating Arcade Nagoriyuki. I tried so damn hard. That guy is broken, busted, and very funny.
The story mode that you can't even play. That being said, I do have to admit, that story mode is actually pretty good.
That was a cool anime movie.
As someone who likes the idea of stories actually having an ending, this story mode feels like an ending. Maybe not for Guilty Gear as a whole, but for the story that we've been following since the very start of this franchise, and for Soul Bad Guy himself, yeah, this was definitely an ending, and I think they nailed it. If you're a fan of these characters, the note that this story mode goes out on is kind of beautiful. But getting on to the most important thing, the combat. I totally understand why people would prefer the gameplay of the Accent Core series or of Exart Rev. Those games got nutty, and sometimes it felt like the only limit was your imagination. And Strive is definitely more restricted in comparison. But as much as I love freedom in my gameplay and totally bonkers level of speed and combos, yeah, I can't lie. Those games are just too much for me. It is hard for my brain to keep up with them. But in Strive, I can actually understand what I'm doing in this game, and
I feel Thorgi so much.
Asuka.
Yes. Well, Asuka, I think, is... If you want... You know, you're a rocket scientist and you want something that's challenging, play Asuka. But yeah, outside of that, I think this game, a lot of people will complain about how it simplified things and made things a little bit slower. For me, getting into fighting games, it genuinely helped out a lot. And yeah, honestly, when we started, things were too fast and I couldn't really tell what was going on. But for Stripe now, yeah. I'm kind of there.
Compared to some of the other fighting games that I have tried a little bit, I think Strive does a really good job trying to teach you how to play the characters. Like, the stuff that they have built into the game to help you learn them.
I wouldn't say that it's perfect, for sure. Because, unfortunately, it still sort of falls into the same trap of press these buttons in this order and you're good, without really teaching you when and how to actually use it in an actual match. But I think that's just a problem with fighting games as a whole.
But that's the first hurdle that I never got over, was how to get my buttons. And Stripe did the best, getting me the farthest. So I give it that credit.
I see what Thorgi means here. And as somebody who isn't very good at fighting games and has horrible reaction time, Strive is kind of that perfect challenge to push me a little bit, but not overwhelm me.
I've heard multiple other people say the exact same thing. The speed and pacing of this combat feels exactly in line with my own personal timing. And I apologize if I have a little bit of a chip on my shoulder about this, but people talk about Strive like this game was in slow motion. You people are insane. You're only saying that because you're comparing it to Rev. Compare it to every other big major title out there right now, and it is still one of the craziest, quickest fighters on the market. But on top of the pacing and the speed, the Roman cancels are easily the best they have been in the entire series. You get multiple different types of cancels for different situations, and you don't need lightning fast reflexes to pull them off anymore, giving players like me way more freedom with them. It is so damn fun going into the lab and figuring out how to work the Roman cancels into a combo. especially when you mix in there all the different types of counters, and dear God, those counters. You need your fighting game to
That's
give you
so
those
satisfying.
cool moments. Those moments that make you feel like you just did something amazing. And when the screen zooms in for that big counter, you know you're about to punish your opponent like they have never been punished before. But all the great gameplay in the world doesn't mean much if you don't have a place to play. And the big reason why this game gets so high on this list is because this was the first fighting game that I played that actually had really good netcode. Don't get me wrong, I had played other games that I thought had good netcode. I had heard people complaining about bad netcode, and I always said, "You're crazy, that's just how netcodes are. You're asking for too much. These netcodes are fine, the online is perfectly stable." But the moment that I played Guilty Gear Strive, I just said, "Oh, all other fighting games kind of suck. All of them have bad netcode. How come nobody told me before?" And I got addicted to playing this online, more than I had for any other fighting game at that point. I was jumping online day and night because I could not get enough of this game. And that's really saying something, because screw those lobbies, I hate them.
I am so glad that we moved away from the tower and now have an actual ranked system. That should have been in the game in the first place. The tower was just... It looked like a cool idea and concept. Definitely did not work in practice at all.
I can see, what they were doing on paper, but oof.
Outside of the whole running around trying to find a match with people, it was just kind of annoying. There was that massive gap between people in the super high levels, like floor 10 versus Celestial was just like, I played the game a lot versus I'm a professional player who won Evo. You know, it was kind of insane. But yeah, thank goodness we have the ranked system. And from what I've heard, I haven't tried it out myself, but from what I've heard, it's pretty good actually. And the player base is still there. Some people will say that, you know, it's more niche. There's less players in there than Street Fighter 6. I think every other fighting game is going to have less players than Street Fighter 6.
That's kind of an unfair comparison,
right?
Yeah.
Fighters in general are just niche already, and I guess anime fighters are a subset of fighting games, so comparatively to other anime fighters out there right now, I'd say this game has a pretty big player base.
I still hate them, and thank God this game now has classic ranked matches. If this game had that from the start, this would have easily broken the top 10 for me. Number 14.
Of course. Man, it looks so damn good.
He's so edgy. I love it.
King of Fighters 13. Man, I really could not bring myself to put this one spot higher, could I? And here for me is the height of...
Yo, you're right. I didn't even think about it. That would have been perfect. Damn you, Thorgi. You missed all the meme potential.
King of Fighters, and it's not just because of the presentation, although we should point out the presentation is through the roof. The soundtrack in here might be my favorite from the entire KOF series. When I was doing that KOF retrospective, I had this thing on in the background non-stop. And you all know how gorgeous this thing looks. I don't need to explain that to you. You have eyes. This isn't just the best looking King of Fighters. This is the best looking sprite work in any fighting game ever. And it's not just the characters, the stages. My God, the stages in here are godlike. Stop and look at how many details and moving parts are in these backgrounds. It is the peak of sprite-based artwork. There is more detail in the animations of some of the characters in the backgrounds of these stages than there are in the full movesets of characters in some of the games we have talked about today.
Yeah.
And there's so many of them. To this day, I'm not even sure I've seen all the
Look at them
stages in
going
this
ham.
game. So I can't lie. The look of this game, the soundtrack, yeah, it bumps this thing up several spots. But what really gets it this high is this is easily my favorite combat in the entire KOF franchise. But what's surprising to me about that is that that's not how I felt when I first played it. No, for years I had heard this game was great, but when I checked it out, I came away going, yeah, it's good. You know, it's your standard 2D fighting game. Certainly feels like KOF alright. But when I had to go back to it for the KOF retrospective, and I actually had to sit down and spend time learning all the ins and outs, there came that moment when suddenly I just felt like it opened up to me. Like all of a sudden, I just found a whole new game inside of here. It had so much depth. I felt like there was just unlimited potential in this game. The mobility was perfect, best in the entire franchise. Running, jumping, all of it feels better than in probably any other game from this time period. And as I said, every fighting game needs that thing that makes you feel like you just did something cool. And there are few things in any fighting game that feel quite as good as canceling your super into your Neo Max move. This, like many other games in the top half of this list, are games that I didn't find and appreciate until after the competitive side of it kind of dried up. At least beyond the super top tier players who all knew exactly what they were doing. And it bums me out that there aren't hundreds of people playing this at all skill levels right now so that we could all just hop into this game and get a couple matches together. Number 13, Blaze.
Yeah. Oh, Central Fiction, let's go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was gonna say, there's probably not gonna be another, like, 2D sprite game quite like King of Fighters 13, unless if a company wants to bankrupt itself. Like, we're never going to get that same level of quality.
Is that's just never going to be cost effective, and the time and money it would take would mean either you'd have an indie studio spend their entire life on it, or a big studio who kills themselves over it, like guessing.
Yeah.
So
because, like, with the how much you have to invest into it and how niche of a genre fighting games are in general, I don't think it's going to make it back enough to warrant putting in that much effort. Now, of course, because
unfortunately, I would say the indie side is the only side you can get that. But again, it's like it takes so much time. It would be a passion project that they make nothing off of for God knows how long. I don't know. That's
perhaps
something that we will not see again for a very long time, if ever.
Yeah. Because I'm thinking there may be a scenario in the future where we discover some sort of tech that can help speed through a lot of the things that you would have to normally do in order to get stuff like that done, but still maintain the same level of quality or even higher level of quality. I think that is entirely possible, but I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon. And if that's going to be like what it is used for, right? To make the best 2D sprite fighter game. It's probably going to be used for something else.
Blue Central Fiction. You know what I just said about KOF 13 and how I wish I had gotten into it when everyone was learning it and new to the game and there were hundreds of people online all playing it at the same time of all different skill levels? That goes double for Central Fiction. I played the first Blaze Blue when it originally came out, and I kind of fell off of it for various reasons, and then after that I just sort of watched Blaze Blue from afar. But when I did that retrospective, this thing got its claws into me, and I cannot tell you how hard I fell in love with this whole series. Each game was better than the last, all leading up to Central Fiction, which had so much amazing combo potential. Movement was incredible, and there was so much freedom and individuality with every character. No character in here feels anything like any of the other characters. And considering how huge this roster is, that is saying something. This became one of those games where I wanted to play through it with every
Hell, even this character and New 13, despite basically being a recolor of each other, feel very different to play, which is kind of incredible that they managed to achieve that.
Single character. And I know I've said that about a couple of other games on this list so far, But think about the fact that I was playing this for that retrospective, meaning I had just spent the last several months playing through all the other BlazBlues, and I had already finished putting a ton of time into all of these characters. And yet the moment that I got to Central Fiction, something about this game just made me want to play through every single character again. Each of them got so many new tools, all the mechanics are amazing in here. They still gave each character their own unique arcade mode story, and they brought the Grimoire mode back, but now it's got this crazy boss rush mode at the end of it, and that thing is super fun. Like I said, I played this for the retrospective, and when that retrospective was done, I kept playing it. A lot. Hell, I started to do combo trials for characters, even though there was no reason for me to do that. I just wanted to learn them. And if I could have gone into this game sooner, when there was a full player base of people at all skill levels, you better believe this would have cracked the top 10.
If you guys were there, then you guys are real, but I mean, you guys do exist. And what I mean is you're the real ones.
If you're real,
if you're real and you do exist, please, yeah. But I do admit that in terms of combo trials, probably the furthest and most motivated I've ever been to get through one was Bullet in BlazBlue Central Fiction. We did an entire stream just trying to get through the combo trials, and I did a lot of failing in that stream. Eventually broke at one point because I was just about to pass out. It was like 3 a.m. too. I just couldn't get it done. But, that did help clean up a lot of my inputs. And I think I still feel the effects of that till today. So, yeah, I do agree with Thorgi here. There's just something about this game where it just feels very good to learn your character and how complex they can be, but how simple you can play them if you're not at that level just yet.
You want to know how much I enjoyed this game? We started up a Discord for this channel, and I literally made a page in there for people who wanted to find matches in random fighting games, because I thought maybe I could use that to find Central Fiction matches, because I so desperately wanted to play people in this. That's how hooked I was on it. Number 12.
Hey! We gotta play some more of this, Survey.
Yeah, this one I actually had fun with too. Oh, quite a bit.
Yeah, I definitely think that in terms of like simple mechanics and getting into fighting games, this is probably the best place for you to get into it. It really helps along with the beginner phases of getting into fighting games. So
I think it's unfortunate, that I got back and was playing it right as you guys kind of stopped playing it.
It is also probably one of Kane's favorite games that he's played so far. So honestly, I'm always up for a match. Of course, this must mean that we have free time together and we're not doing something else already. So many things kind of taking up our free time, but yeah, I'm always down for more Grand Blue.
Very much so.
This game is awesome.
Fantasy versus Rising. You know how I said with KOF 13 and Central Fiction, those games would have been much higher on this list if I had gone into them when they had a full player base and I could find matches online at my
Blue
skill
still
level.
has a player base.
Yeah, here's the proof of that, because that's the exact reason why Grand Blue beat both of them. Now let me just say, love the art design of this game. It is absolutely gorgeous. And while I know nothing at all about Grand Blue, even after playing this game for years, I still barely grasp the premise of it. I do still think that each of these characters seem really cool. Each time they add someone new to this roster, I always think, ooh, they seem sick. What's their deal? And
I can't wait for all the comments to come back again. Grand Blue lore when? Now, once again, kinda a little bit scared to get into Grand Blue because from what you guys have been saying, this is like Warhammer 40k levels of amount of lore. And Warhammer 40k has taken me a very long time and I still haven't even really scratched the surface. It's like about 2 years basically of us covering Warhammer 40k. I still do, but very occasionally. But yeah. This seems like it could be a lot of fun, honestly. Interested in a lot of characters just based off their design and how they potentially fit into the world.
And I really like the combat in this game. I think it is loads of fun, super accessible, maybe a few too many zoners, but still a game that is very easy to pick up and play. And I honestly think it might have done the best job out of any game out there at balancing the simplified and full motion input commands.
Yeah,
This is the only
I
game where I
agree.
will freely swap between simplified inputs and the full motion commands within the same combo, and it feels great.
Yeah, the way that it's implemented means that if it's a move that you can do by doing the motion inputs, you can just do it. But if it's something that's a little more difficult, you can decide not to. It just gives you a slightly less damage, but you can just do it more consistently without having to worry about all the usual stuff that you would with other 2D fighters. So I'm glad that
Gotcha.
I believe this is the same system they're using in Tokon. So looking forward to whenever that releases. It's been a little bit rocky in the beta tests. Some people's impressions not so great. But, the game isn't out yet, so we can't judge it quite yet.
But if you asked me point blank, does Grand Blue have better combat than Central Fiction, KOF 13, or Guilty Gear Strive? I'd say no. I think each of those games play better. But when this game came back with the Rising Edition and they added rollback netcode, I was all over this thing. I was online learning so many characters, and I was having so much fun with each of them. And I got so into this
This is
game
one of those
that
things where it's like, I feel like I missed my opportunity to ask, and now I feel stupid doing so.
Oh boy, okay.
Rollback netcode.
I see. Okay. You know what, Serby? I am not qualified to answer that. I know what it is, but I also want you to know the exact definition of it. So I think the best way to do this is to watch the video that I watched in order to learn what rollback netcode was from a channel called Core Gaming. They have a ton of really amazing videos on getting into fighting games or explaining different aspects of fighting games that I think could be really cool for us to check out one day. So
Gotcha.
if we have some free time,
Sounds good to
I'm down
me.
to check it out.
last year when I went to EVO for the first time, I decided, screw it, I'm going to compete in something. And what game did I choose to compete in?
Grand Blue?
Grand Blue Fantasy versus Rising. And
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
I'll admit, I was having more fun with some other games that were at EVO that year. I definitely was enjoying Tekken and Street Fighter more than I was Grand Blue at that time, but I understood Grand Blue more. I was definitely better at it because I knew the ins and outs. And when I competed, I actually did all right. I made it through the first round of pools, and I think only 25% of players do that. And thinking about how when I
Nice.
used to compete in games like Street Fighter 4, I barely ever won one match, and thinking now at EVO, I was actually able to defeat multiple opponents in a row, and thinking about the rush that I got from competing that day, that is always going to be one of my most precious memories from a fighting game. I still have the Chipotle gift card that I won off of it in my wallet to this day. So for that memory, it barely squeezes above the last few titles. Number 11.
What a graphical whiplash.
A little bit. We're going back in time with this one, baby.
Oh yeah. Like a damn pixels. Love it. I do hear a lot of people talk about Street Fighter 2.
What I've heard is that this is the birth of modern fighting games. Because Street Fighter 1 definitely wasn't it. That was janky as all heck. But Street Fighter 2 started introducing stuff like combos, right? All the basic mechanics that are in every single 2D fighter kind of started here.
Street Fighter 2. What on earth can I possibly say about Street Fighter 2 that everyone on the planet hasn't already said? Yeah, after the last couple entries, this is gonna be a real short one. This is the game that gave birth to fighting games. Sure, there were fighting games before this, but I have to put those in quotation marks because they were not what we think of when we think of fighting games. This is the game that created the framework of this genre. It introduced so many amazing characters that would become legends in the video game world. It defined the basic fundamentals of combat. It gave rise to a competitive landscape, and it kept building upon itself to become better and better with each installment. And it still feels good to play today. When I went back to this game for the Street Fighter retrospective, the first thing that I said was, oh my god, it still feels like it did in my memories. Those aren't nostalgia goggles, this is still fun. And that's the real reason why I have to put the game this high. my
That is
memories of it,
impressive.
and what the game means to me. I love fighting games. I've been talking about them for about 3 hours now. You all know that I do. And this is the game that created my love for this genre. I've told this story before, but I remember going to that Skateland USA when I was a kid on a field trip, and then not getting on the rink once the entire day because I saw this machine for the very first time, and I just started popping quarters into it all day long.
Man, I love to think that, the parents are like, wow, our kid is going to become a professional hockey player or something, or ice skater. Nah, I'm at the arcade machine.
This game defines so many things that I love about fighting games. From the combat to the
What are they
diverse
doing to
cast
that
of
chicken
characters.
in the background?
The one in the cage? Oh.
No, the one he's holding
Oh.
upside down.
Well, judging from the things hanging up top, I have a pretty good guess.
Surely he wouldn't hurt the chicken.
The shop selling chicken meat definitely wouldn't hurt the chicken. Yes, Servy, don't worry about it. He's just petting the
he
chicken.
couldn't.
From the combat to the diverse cast of characters from all over the world to the challenge of rising higher in the arcade ladder, I would not be here without Street Fighter 2. Now, we have finally entered the top 10. And considering
the
I know a
promised
lot of
land.
people probably skipped to this point in the video, and hey, I can't blame you, I've seen the link to
We
this
did
thing.
not skip.
But for those folks who skipped to this point, I'm just going to give you a quick refresher of what I said at the start. This is 100% my list
personal.
of personal
Yep.
favorites. It is not meant to be an objective and definitive list
What
of the
is your
actual
number
top
one?
10 best fighting games of all time, because I don't think it's even possible to make a list like that with all the elements that you have
No.
to factor in. I mean, heck,
Gang
even just
these.
judging this as my own personal favorites, I still had trouble putting them all in order. I shuffled this top 10 around more than a deck of cards, so I can't even imagine trying to put together a definitive best fighting games list.
That's why
So
it's like
no,
whenever
these
I
are
try to like pick a favorite for anything, it's like whatever that is will change so dramatically on the given day, just based on how I'm feeling and what I'm in the mood for. Like these
Yeah.
kind of lists are so, because even if this is like your definitive list in this exact moment, it's like it'll change. It always changes. So it's a snapshot of how you're feeling.
100%. Throughout time, we always constantly change as people. Things will mean different things to us as we progress through life. That's just the natural way of things. So, yeah, just let us know what you love now. Although,
Yeah.
that being said, whenever I get asked the question of like, what is your favorite video game character, favorite anime? I'm always kind of stunned for
I
a
hate
second.
those questions. Yeah.
I have an idea, but then I have to like do a little bit of introspection and think about, do I really enjoy it as much as I do this other one? It's tough.
I think the only one of those that I have an answer for ever is what's your favorite manga? And that's just because Spirit Circle is so far and above everything else that I've read. But like 99% of the time, I'm like, I don't know, man. What's my favorite thing? I couldn't tell you. There's too many good things that I like for too many different reasons.
Yeah. I think when it comes to specifically manga, I always run into the issue of, do I say the thing that I enjoy that is just really damn good? Or do I say the thing that I enjoy that I want to spotlight because I think it's not praised as much?
Yeah. That's true too.
It's like, I love dark fantasy. I could say Berserk and people would be like, hell yeah, brother. Or I could say Claymore. And then some people might be like, what is that? I wouldn't say it's as good as Berserk, but I do think it kind of got completely shafted from releasing a bit too early before the whole, well, dark fantasy, or I guess anime in the West became popular. Because that Studio
True.
Madhouse anime was peak. I love that. The animation
I watched
was
that
so
one back
good.
in the day.
And then
I don't think I finished it. I should finish it someday.
I wouldn't recommend finishing it. Get close to the final episode and don't watch it.
Fair.
It's like, man, Blu-ray
That's
discs
what I do
aren't
have to
selling
tell
in
them.
Japan. We're gonna axe the series and go in a completely different direction. The manga still continues after that in a much better way.
Oh man, so many anime did that back in the day. It's very sad.
Yeah. I'm still hoping and praying someday somebody's gonna pick up Claymore and actually do a full adaptation of it. because I do think it would be amazing. But then again, it's like Studio Madhouse worked on it. The animation for that was amazing, and I don't want a One Punch Man situation.
Like in its prime, right?
Yes. Yes.
Madhouse is not the same studio anymore.
Unfortunately, no. But back then, they were like ahead of everybody else when it came to animation, in my opinion. Their action scenes were so damn good for the time they came out in.
Just my personal favorites. But just had to get that out of the way one last time. No more stalling. It's here now at number 10.
I'm here now. It is here now. Tekken? Which Tekken? Oh, we got it. It's Capoeira Alpaca Lady.
Tekken 5. So, little refresher, thought the first two Tekken games were alright, then Tekken 3 blew my socks off and made me fall in love with Tekken. Then Tekken 4 came out and, yeah, it was okay. So I sort of fell out of love with Tekken. But it wasn't just Tekken. This was right around the time when the arcade scene was dying, all my local arcades had shut down, and that was the #1 place I went to play fighting games. So I was kind of falling out of love with fighting games in general at the time. Not completely, there were definitely other fighters that I was still enjoying, but it was no longer that genre that I was all in on, ride or die. And then Tekken 5 came out, and this reignited that love like an inferno. I became obsessed with this game. It looks stunning. Hell, it still looks good today, especially the stages. Before this, I never really cared about the stages in Tekken, but this game made my jaw drop. That Space Station stage alone is one of the most impressive things from any fighting game of this generation. All the new characters were great additions. Asuka Kazama became one of my favorite fighting game characters ever, until the later Tekken games kind of ruined her, but we're not talking about that right now. And the arcade mode endings are legendary. These are the best arcade endings in any fighting game ever. They're hilarious in the way that only Tekken could pull off. And they made me want to go back through and play every single character's ladder, and it had been a while since I felt that pull in a game. And as for the combat, there's two different ways that I approach this. Looking at it as someone today, someone who has spent the last two Tekken installments learning how to play this game, learning to really appreciate the actual gameplay of Tekken, this game is so impressive.
Okay, nothing to do with the gameplay or what Thorgi is talking about, but Heihachi versus Steve is hilarious to me.
Steve.
That's all I wanted to say.
I think about everything that I love about Tekken 7 and Tekken 8, and now I look back at Tekken 5, and it feels like I am looking at the blueprints for that. The speed, how much you can maneuver around in combat, the combo potential. This does not feel like a game that came out 20 years ago. Tekken 5 was so ahead of its time. But again, that's how I feel about the game today, now that I actually understand it. But when the game came out, as I said, I didn't really understand Tekken back then. I just hit buttons. But this was the game that made me start to understand Tekken. This was the very first Tekken game that I played in which I said, wait a minute, that came out when I did this. So, can I do that again? No, that didn't work. Wait, what if I pause between these two buttons? Oh, hang on, it worked that time. And you know, I just noticed if this character looks like they're about to do this attack, I can beat that with this attack. Or at least I should be able to sidestep it if I move at this moment. No, that didn't work. Wait, what if I try and sidestep it the other direction? Oh my god, that actually worked. Yeah, there was just something about Tekken 5's combat that made someone like me, someone who had no idea what they were doing, begin to actually figure it out.
It's the same type of joy that you get when you play a game blind or like a completely new genre, and you're just trying out different things to figure out the mechanics for it. At least that's something I personally enjoy whenever I get into a new video game or any new grand strategy game that I play with all the unique things about it.
This game did a ton to get me to start understanding fighting games on a deeper level. This is where I finally started to enjoy fighting games beyond just hitting buttons.
Okay, I didn't mention anything about it there, and I don't think anybody was going to get that reference because it's kind of an inside joke. But when I talked about Capoeira Alpaca Lady, I was referring to an anime called Odd Taxi. If any of you guys have seen that, you probably now know what I'm talking about. But yeah, literally, same stance, same movement. It was kind of funny. It just reminded me because we recently finished watching it.
Number 9.
Capcom presents.
Is this 2?
Ready?
This music.
Look at all those game features.
It sounds kind of similar to Naruto Weebs in so many songs.
Kind of, actually.
New
Yeah.
Age of Heroes.
You all know why Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is up here in the top 10. For someone who loved all the
That's a
previous
lot of
games in this
people's favorite.
franchise, going into the arcade and seeing a brand new
I love
installment of
these
this
sprites.
series
They're
was a
very cute.
big deal all on its own. But the moment that roster popped
Kinda
up on
pastel
screen,
almost.
dear God, that might have been the greatest moment in little teenage Thorgi's life. I loved Marvel vs. Capcom 1, but even I had to admit at the time, this roster is kind of small, isn't it? Well, Capcom heard those complaints and they took it personally. They put in here everyone from the previous games and so many brand new characters. Cable, Tronbon,
Everyone's
Jill
here.
Valentine. These were huge additions. And then there were these brand new characters who I had never heard of, but they became iconic just for being in this game. And the teams now went from 2 to 3 characters. Talk about a massive leap. This is now the standard for tag fighters, but at the time it seemed impossible. I became so obsessed.
You know, that's kind of how people feel about the 4v4 right now. It
Yes.
seems impossible. They're not going to pull it off.
Seeing people's reaction to the 4v4 tag when they announced Tokon was very fun.
Yeah, yeah. I had a great time going through everybody's reactions to it.
Oh, yeah.
Or especially the fighting game content creators who were just sitting there theorizing now. Who's going to be the roster?
Yeah.
How's it going to work? How do we make it work? Because, well, from what I've heard, the beta tests have sort of run into the issues that people were worried about. That, you know, now it just feels like a 1v1 with 3 assists instead of a true, like, 4v4. Someday they'll get there, I'm sure. If not with this game, then another game, but the potential's there.
Yeah.
Obsessed with this game, and I was hanging out in the
Here's the
arcade
see
playing
where
it
it
so
goes.
much, I kid you not, I became known as the guy at my school who played Marvel vs. Capcom 2. The other students would go to the mall, they'd walk past the arcade, and I would almost always be there playing this. And sure, I'll admit, I didn't really dig the music when it first came out. It was way too slow and chill for a game like Marvel. But now, I can't
I like it.
imagine Marvel without these songs. Hell, I can't imagine the fighting game community as a whole without instantly associating them with these tracks. You just hear the phrase, take you for a ride, and you immediately picture this game. And all the promotional material and that artwork of all the faces turned towards each other, damn, that thing is so simple, and yet it still lives rent-free in my head. When I was a kid, there was no greater height fighting games could reach than Marvel vs. Capcom 2. But I will admit, as time has gone on, I don't dig the combat nearly as much as I used to. Don't get me wrong, I still love it, but these days if you ask me which game in the Marvel series has my favorite combat, it's definitely not going to be this one. In fact, it's not even going to be at number 2 or 3. I do feel like a lot of the other Marvel games just feel better to play, which is pretty much the only reason this isn't making it any higher. Well, then I'll be honest with you, I think the game fails at the crossover element, which was always one of my favorite things about these games. There's no arcade endings and no stages from any of these respective franchises, and that did always bum me out a bit.
Unfortunate.
Luckily, there's another Marvel game that makes up for that, but we'll get to that later. For now, though, at number 8.
Which could have been.
Hmm.
Can't imagine.
KI? Max would be very happy.
Killer Instinct 2013. God, I know I said all the games in the top 10 shifted all over the place, but this was the king of that. This game one minute was in the top 5, the next it wasn't even in the top 20. Just like with the original Killer Instinct, I am so back and forth on this, but let me explain why. I mentioned way back in the 90s that I was terrible at the original Killer Instinct, but when Killer Instinct 2013 was announced, I kept hearing so much praise. I kept hearing so many positive things about it. Everyone was cheering this game on. So I said,
Wasn't this the game that Mick Gordon made the music for? I'm pretty sure it was this one. And I mean,
I don't know.
I love Mick Gordon's work on Doom 2016, so whenever we get around to KI, I'm super looking forward to listening to some of the tracks from this game. Like, what other game are you going to play as Hisako and possess somebody else and impale them from inside, right? Like, that's pretty cool.
You know what? I'm gonna give it a try. Even if I was bad at the original Killer Instinct, I'm gonna jump into this one. Two problems though, it was on the Xbox One and I refused to buy a console that seemed to be actively trying to sabotage itself, and it was also on Steam.
I don't know what they're doing with the Xbox, man. What the fuck? What is happening?
Nothing. They're not doing anything with the Xbox, but they're still making it for some god-awful reason.
Look at this mobile device. That's an Xbox. I'm not even an Xbox fan. I've never had an Xbox in my life. I still feel bad. Like, what is this? But genuinely though, did we just give up on fighting against like Sony and their PlayStation or the Nintendo Switch?
Yes, I don't know, man.
Whatever.
But my PC at the time was not equipped to play anything that demanding. A visual novel would have caused that old thing to start smoking. So once again, this was my siren song.
Never really just sat down and looked at the characters in Killer Instinct, but there's some cool characters in this.
There are some really unique designs here, yeah. So someday the character designer ranks video, I'll do it.
Could be fun, yeah.
Also, massive props to Thorgi. He said visual novel this time, not light novel.
You're right.
Now it's just a thing that I'm like sitting here waiting for Thorgi to say.
It kept calling to me, but I had no way of reaching it. But when the Xbox Series S came out, I picked one up, finally bought Killer Instinct, and after 7 years of people continuously hyping this game up, it was still greater than I possibly could have imagined. Every single hit had so much impact to it that it instantly gave me that cool factor. Combos linked together so smoothly that it made me feel like I was doing something amazing, even when I knew I had no idea what I was doing. And the ultra combo finishers, the screaming announcer, the stage finishers, every single thing they put into this combat was designed to make you feel like a badass. To this day, after playing it for so many hours, I know darn well I can't play this game for squat. Anyone with even a modicum of knowledge of this game could destroy me. But I don't care because this game makes me feel like everything I do is the coolest thing in the world. And it was jam-packed with so many new characters that I had never seen before, but they each had such great designs and mountains of lore behind them that I instantly got interested in.
Oh, really?
Them. I went from knowing next to
lore, you say?
You said the magic word.
Nothing about Killer Instinct to having several brand new favorite characters. I mean, Hisako? Forget it. As a fan of spooky characters in fighting games, it was over the moment she arrived. And the single-player content is through the roof.
I love monsters.
They gave you story.
This is winning me over.
Yep. Yeah, just seeing a bunch of coolly designed monsters, all very unique in a fighting game. I kind of want to play it. Similar feeling as to seeing the kaijus beat each other up and throw buildings at each other.
Modes for every single character in the first 2 seasons, and it's kind of a shame that they didn't get to finish that with all the characters. And these story modes had alternate endings depending on how you played the game. That's genius, and it makes me mad more fighting games haven't tried to copy that. And then they threw in a big roguelike mode that almost guaranteed you will never run out of stuff to do in this game.
More fighting games need a roguelike mode. It is just built for that formula, and yet we don't capitalize on it.
Darkness 699. I know these are just random people he's matching against, but that's cracking me up. I love it.
This is just like that era of, what was it, Xbox Live lobbies, right? Where everybody has these like cool, edgy gamer tags. Man. So much fun.
Every single thing about this fighting game felt like it was made by fighting game fans who wanted to make the greatest fighting game they possibly could.
That's good.
The only reason this is not higher on this list is because just like with BlazBlue Central Fiction and KOF 13 and so many other games on this list, I got into it too late. The online player base had dried up except for the toppest of top-tier players, and yeah, I was not going to learn to swim by being thrown into that pool. I do still feel like I can put it in my top 10 though, simply because, as I said, the single-player content in this game is nearly endless. So I did get a ton of variety out of the game by just going back to it and doing those modes over and over and over again. But still, damn, I hate that I missed out on playing against other people online with this thing, and I wish we could get a revival. Oh yeah, and we should also mention the soundtrack. Just wall-to-wall bangers. My second favorite fighting game soundtrack ever.
Hell yeah.
Which raises the question, so what's my favorite fighting game soundtrack? Well, that would be at number 7.
What is this? Street? No, MVC 3, right? From the art style?
Probably. This looks familiar, it must be.
Yep.
Yeah. Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is really cool. I don't know. There's something special about it. Even for me as a kid, like a young kid who knew nothing about fighting games, it's one of the few games I remember playing as a kid. Like I have a lot of memories just playing with my brother.
I'm still surprised that you had played this game before. Like, I guess I was also surprised that you had played Guilty Gear before and you wanted to invite me into the fighting game lore stuff. But yeah, when you said that, I immediately went up and picked up this game. Still sitting in my library waiting to be played.
No, I would love to touch this game. I literally haven't played this since I was a little kid, but I would love to come back to it.
Man, the nostalgia would go insane for you then.
Yeah.
Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. This is it, the peak of Marvel vs. Capcom. Yes, the gameplay is kind of broken and X Factor is way too strong, but listen, Marvel fans, I've been part of this community
That's kind of the point
start.
of MVC.
You look me in the eye and tell me you don't want a versus game to be busted. The soundtrack is my favorite fighting game soundtrack of all time. I can listen to this entire massive collection from start to finish with no skips. The roster in the previous games were good, but they always had some kind of a problem.
Hey, it's me.
Small, too many repeats, why are there 2 Wolverines? But this roster got it just right. It had so many brand new characters who had never been in this series before. It actually felt like it wasn't just trying to rest on the laurels of being a brand new Marvel game. It actually wanted to feel like a brand new Marvel game. And listen, I know the old X-Men fans are going to be mad at me for saying this, but as someone who grew up reading books other than the X-Men titles, it felt so good to see a Marvel vs. Capcom with a roster that felt like it was actually trying to represent the entire Marvel universe. You got your X-Men, you got your Avengers, your street-level heroes, your supernatural heroes, your space heroes. It had the mainstream choices, it had the weird picks, it had the old classics for nostalgia, it had the fresh faces for that new hotness. This roster understood the assignment.
We have like
and I
Phoenix,
love
right?
all the references in here. How each character actually got arcade endings that showed them having fun with the crossover element of this game. The unique voice lines between certain characters before a match.
From.
Hagar? I have never seen that character before, so I can't help you.
All I know is him fucking smashing me in the head with his pipe.
He smacked you in the head so hard it became a core memory? For you of all people? That's insane.
It felt like the previous Versus games had a barrier between Marvel and Capcom that kept them from crossing over as much as they wanted to, and this game punched a hole clean through it. And that's not even mentioning the Heroes and Heralds mode that they add later on with all these trading cards that you collect. God, it felt like they just said, we know we're not going to get...
Dormammu looks so much like a Ghost Rider, honestly.
Dormammu's interesting.
So Dormammu, the only time I've ever seen Dormammu was in the Doctor Strange movie. I'm pretty sure he was there, right? Because that was the person Doctor Strange was going to negotiate with.
Yeah.
Did not look like this at all.
What Dormammu actually looked like, and they're like, yeah, a big space cloud thing.
Oh, that's kind of boring.
I guess.
Right?
Yeah.
So this is what he's canonically supposed to look like in the comics?
Yeah. Pretty sure when I played this game, the characters that were my go-to, like my usual my 3-character team, was Dante, Deadpool, and Wesker.
You know, Dante, I get for you. Was not expecting Deadpool, though, not gonna lie.
As a kid, I was a massive Deadpool fan.
Really?
Like, I remember when they announced the Deadpool video game, because this was before he had, like, cemented himself in pop culture. There was no Deadpool media at the time. So, like, this was one of the first things that Deadpool showed up in. And yeah, when the Deadpool video game came out on the Xbox, I think exclusive, I was so stoked. I had that thing on pre-order. I played that when it came out. The game itself is pretty mediocre, like gameplay-wise, but it was fun, and it's a really good Deadpool media. And then kind of Deadpool exploded in pop culture and just ended up everywhere. And I feel like a lot of the original comic book Deadpool was kind of lost to it. Not to say that Deadpool is bad now, because that would be...
Yeah.
But it doesn't have the charm that it used to, because it used to be so exciting to see Deadpool show up in things. It's like, oh my god, I can't believe Deadpool's here. And you get to see him be cheeky and break the fourth wall. And yeah, it was a different era back then for Deadpool.
That is fair. Yeah.
Like, I remember him fucking using his ult to, like, grab the super bar and smack your enemy with it.
Yeah. You know, for a character like Deadpool, that makes a lot of sense. I didn't expect them to do something like that, but grabbing the UI elements is a really fun idea. Hell yeah. But yeah, I get it. It's like an overexposure to the thing makes it a whole lot less special than it used to be.
No, Deadpool was one of the comics that I started reading. It was Spider-Man and Deadpool were the 2 that I really started in. And then I expanded to Doctor Strange. Those were what got me into comics.
Oh, hey, look. Feast.
Yeah.
I still remember the short that I made when we were playing through
So funny.
yeah, Miles Morales. Feast, do they have buffets every day? What is this? Why are there so many days that we feast? Do we feast like every Wednesday, Sunday, and sometimes on Friday?
Feast is the homeless shelter.
Oh. So do we just eat normal meals and then we just throw a banquet on those days? Okay. That makes a lot more sense. Right, moving on.
That sounds great. Just a bi-weekly feast.
Let's just throw in every possible reference we have room for. And I mentioned that this game wanted to make itself feel like a brand new Marvel vs. Capcom, and I have to come back to that, because that's exactly what this was. We thought this series was dead. We were never going to get another one. So when this game was announced, everyone was paying attention. And then all throughout the year leading up to this game, there was a build-up where characters were getting announced through these big, amazing...
Okay, holy shit. Dante versus Deadpool goes so hard as a concept. I love that,
I want to
actually.
say, too, I actually don't think I had the ultimate version of Marvel vs. Capcom. I think I had the original release. So I didn't have all of these characters. Yeah.
Well, when we try it out, then you'll get to be the ultimate version of the Marvel vs. Capcom experience. Hell yeah.
True.
Cinematics that showed all the characters interacting. To this day, this is still one of the best promotions a fighting game has ever gotten.
No copy.
And when the game actually came out, it matched that hype and more. It was one of the most special releases in fighting game history. Number 6.
Is this... What is this? Rival schools? What? I'm just happy to be here. Whoa. Project Justice.
Project Justice.
Project Justice. Gotta put something in my top 10 that nobody else...
I think Thorgi has a retrospective on this one too. I'm pretty sure. I think I saw it.
is going to have in theirs,
Someday.
but some of you probably saw this coming because you know that I freaking love rival schools. I already went over all this when we covered the first
is it
game about how
related
when
to
I was a
that?
kid I wanted to find games starring other kids in
That
a
wouldn't
school that
surprise
really
me.
took advantage of that setting, and then Capcom gave me
Could
that
just be
exact
similar.
thing with incredibly fun gameplay that had all the speed and air combo action that I loved. But then we got the sequel.
Okay, yeah, I'm starting to recognize some of these characters, so I think it is just in the same series with some of the same characters,
Gotcha.
just like an updated version of it. Because I remember the boxing girl as well as the bat guy, who the volleyball
It's
girl
the
kind of
color named Butts.
yeah looks like it.
Project Justice, and this took everything that I loved from the first Rival Schools and cranked it up to 11. So many new characters, each one fun and memorable, including Ron Hibiki, who would go on to be a brand new favorite of
Tiffany.
mine. I mean, don't get me
Run actually first appeared in 2, but that game only came out in Japan, so this was my first exposure to her. Okay, fair enough. Why are these Japan exclusive
wrong.
games?
Nobody was
No.
talking to Kira Kazama, but I was the photographer for my high school newspaper. So when they introduced Ron Hibiki, a fighter who was, get this, the photographer for her high school newspaper who fought with her camera, I thought it had to be a fever dream. No way did Capcom A, make a fighting game with the exact premise I always wanted, and then B, introduced a character who was made just for me. The graphics were a massive leap in quality. I love the original game, but oof, those graphics do not hold up. But this game actually still looks good to me. And the
can actually
combat
see
can
the
now handle things that
characters.
rival
Yeah.
schools couldn't even dream of. You could finally have both your teammates come out as an assist in the same match. And you could call all 3 of your party members out to do a big team super, and these blew my mind back in the day. There were no supers out there that looked quite as good as this. And I love the defensive technique where if you get hit with an assist, you can call out one of your party members to try and stop the assist, but you only have a limited amount of time to do it. That created such incredibly tense moments. And
Isn't that literally what Marble Tokan introduced to? I'm pretty sure they have that sort of like break mechanic. If you time it perfectly, you can just break their assist.
the
That makes
story
sense,
mode in
yeah.
here, this was so ahead of its time. Giving each school their own story mode that had full comic panel animations to tell the plot was really impressive on its own, but then giving them splitting pathways that changed depending on your gameplay that allowed you to unlock secret characters
Look at
created
them hair
so
trails.
much replay
God
value.
damn.
If you want to know how much I love this game, this is true. When the Capcom Fighting Collection Volume 2 was announced with Project Justice inside of it, I skipped that Nintendo Direct. Yeah, I
Wait,
didn't
oh, it's in the Fighting Collection too? I have that. Hell yeah. I can try this out right now.
watch it, and suddenly, out of nowhere, my phone just started blowing up with people screaming at me, "Dude, you got your wish!" You know a game is important to you when it gets announced to return and people just start shining your own personalized bat signal in the sky. Number 5.
Dragon Ball Fighters.
Yeah, this doesn't surprise me.
I mean, this game.
Everyone I
Dragon
know
Ball.
who likes Dragon Ball and fighting games adore this game.
From what I've heard
And I
people
think
talk about
there's
this
a
game,
Pretty high crossover between Dragon Ball fans and fighting game fans. Shocking, I know.
But yeah, like from what I've heard of this game is that it is peak anime. It is peak
Yeah.
Dragon Ball. Being able to
I played
recreate
a tiny
fights.
bit of this because my friend had it,
Uh-huh.
and we played it like before D&D sometimes. But it is very like it's Arxis, so you know they're very good with just the beautiful anime cinegra- like fighting,
Yeah.
and then you add to the Dragon Ball just vibe and aesthetic. It does exactly what you would want a Dragon Ball fighting game to do.
Mm-hmm. It all just works so perfectly together. When this game initially released, it created a phenomenon. Like everybody
Right.
was on this game. Don't know if we'll ever get that much of a resurgence. They did try to update it again, but I haven't been following the recent stuff as of late.
I'm not a Dragon Ball fan, so I have not followed this ever. But I know people who adore this game for sure.
Yeah. Regardless, though, looks amazing. I should try it out someday.
fighters. Yes, folks, after counting down all these games, my favorite Marvel vs. Capcom game is the one without Marvel or Capcom. Yeah, let's get this out of the way right here at the top. I already mentioned it before, but I grew up loving Dragon Ball Z, so I ain't even going to try and pretend like this entry doesn't have some nostalgia behind it. Especially considering that this game perfectly captures the look of Dragon Ball. It finally feels like we're controlling the characters from the anime. And that's not just the graphics or the art style. All the little bits of animation and all their moves is just gorgeous. There are so many quick poses
like
characters will make.
They nailed it with the vibe.
Straight up,
vibe
just playing the anime. Yeah.
Yeah.
There are direct references to the show.
And I have to say, it looks better
much
than
attention to detail that you'll
honestly
probably miss it because of how fast
this
this
is
game
what
moves.
the Dragon Ball fans picture the anime looks like.
When it comes to like an IP-based game, what more can you ask for?
Honestly,
Although, that is worth pointing out too, I love the speed in this game. It is so fast, but it's perfect for Dragon Ball. This game feels like Arc System Works wanted to create a 2D fighter that got as close to controlling the ballistic action of the anime as possible. And it feels like after all these years, somebody finally nailed that. The super dashes, the teleports, the fact that you don't have a throw in this game. Instead, you just slide forward and do a quick barrage of punches that send the opponent flying. Everything in here feels like how you would fight in Dragon Ball. Hell, they even went one step further and gave you dramatic finishes, where if you have a specific character fight on a specific stage, then you could finish the match with a big cinematic taken right out of the show. And I don't care what the franchise is from this point forward, if you're making a fighting game based on an established property, you need this in your game now. That's just the new rule.
Yeah, why wouldn't you? That's so fucking epic.
That is really cool. I actually didn't know that. That's
Getting to play out the anime fight itself? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
There is nothing that feels as good as finishing an online match with one of these. But even if you know nothing about Dragon Ball, if you have been dying for a new versus game, a new fast-paced tag fire with massive combos that go on forever and DHCs, and just really degenerate potential, but I say degenerate in a good way, this game gave you all of that and more, and the community surrounding this game is amazing! This game came out when all the new fighting games weren't exactly lighting a fire under anyone at the moment, and then Fighters comes along. And so many new
fighters is it just is unabashedly a Dragon Ball fighting game. Like there's no like I think this game has been played competitively.
Yes.
But this came out just for the love of the game, to just be that wish fulfillment of being a Dragon Ball fighting game. And I think that's amazing.
I wholeheartedly agree. I wish I was a Dragon Ball fan when this game got released.
Right.
Creators
yeah, exactly.
and videos with these big communal feelings and genuine enthusiasm started popping up, just causing this new player base to erupt in a way that few other games can pull off. And all of that would have gotten this game up to the top 10. But not the reason why this game breaks the top 5. No, you see, this game means something to me, because it showed me something very important about myself. Bear with me for a moment, folks, because it's story time and this might take a while. You all know I've been playing fighting games since I was a wee lad. Been playing them my whole life. And I joke all the time about how despite loving them, I'm still bad at them. And yeah, I am bad at most of them. But I always thought that's just how it is. I got my butt whooped anytime that I tried to compete throughout my entire life, and I just figured I'm no good at them. I just play these games for fun. There's clearly a skill ceiling I'm always going to hit, and I'm never going to get past that. Then Dragon Ball FighterZ came out, and I was loving this game. I was having a blast with it. And I thought to myself, you know what? Maybe I'll try and get the Platinum Trophy. And there was one trophy in this game that required me to hit a certain point in ranked matches, and I thought, alright, if I want that Platinum Trophy, then I have to get past that. And I tried, and I failed. And then I tried again, and I failed again. Over and over. For weeks, I kept playing matches online, trying to rank up, and I just couldn't. I was still like 3 ranks below the rank I needed to be at to get that trophy, and I wasn't budging. I wasn't moving an inch. So I said, well, that's it. That's my skill ceiling, and I'm just not going to be able to get past that. Oh well. And then I put the game down. Then I started this channel. A channel all about my love of fighting games. and we started the Fighting Game Retrospective, a show where I actually had to sit down and learn the mechanics of a game. I had to learn these fighting games inside and out, and I had to put hours and hours into them so that way I could talk about them in depth. And after about 3 years of doing those shows, I said, you know what? I think I miss Dragon Ball FighterZ. I hate that I gave up on it, and they've added so many cool new characters to the game. Screw it. I'm gonna go back in there, and I'm gonna hit that rank. I know
I think people still play this game, don't they?
Yeah. I don't know how
Like,
big.
this still has an active online.
Yeah, I think it does, especially with the new update they gave to it. They rebalanced the entire game, essentially. I was going to say, Thorgi literally went on his own anime training arc without realizing it. And then he came back into the tournament stronger.
True.
Tried for weeks and I couldn't do it, and that was back when everyone was playing the game, and now all the casual players have left, and it's only the competitive players who have been playing this thing non-stop for 4 years who are left. But I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to go back in there, and I don't care if it takes me months, I am going to finally hit that rank. And then an hour later, I had the trophy, and I breezed past that rank without losing a single match.
What is that trophy called?
And then
my
an hour
power
later,
level is 130k. Hell yeah!
I had the trophy, and I breezed past that rank without losing a
Epic
single
trophy.
match. And I just sat there thinking,
You've gotten
what
better,
the hell
dude.
just happened? How
Small
in
peepee.
an hour did I go up 3 ranks when years ago I couldn't budge an inch in weeks? And I realized, oh, I just spent the last 3 years actually sitting down and forcing myself to understand fighting games inside out. Forcing myself to learn how to respond and think on the fly, and forcing myself to improve my reaction times and learn how to read my opponents and manage multiple mechanics all at the same time. You know, the stuff you need to know for fighting games. And as a result, I can now actually play fighting games. That's why I will always love this game. Why it will always be important to me. Because after spending my entire life telling myself, listen, I know my limits, these games have a skill ceiling to them, I'm just never going to be able to hit those points. I know I'm not going to be able to, it's just not going to happen. This was the game that made me realize, oh, that's not true. I can actually get better. Everyone can get better. It is possible for a low-class Saiyan to go further beyond.
You hear that, Servi? You hear that? It's time, Servi. It is finally time to level the fuck up.
Gotta go play Dragon Ball FighterZ, I see.
Well, maybe don't jump into the deep end just yet. That said, I have kind of a similar... Oh, yeah, definitely. Gotta do more Grand Blue. But I have a kind of a similar story to Thorgi here. Not in terms of fighting games, but back when I used to play golf professionally, I used to only play golf, and I sucked at it. I wasn't very good, not gonna lie. I could hit the ball pretty far, but into the hole, not so much. However, during university, when I went through sports science and we had to learn like 14 different sports in order to finish our degree, learning all those other sports and playing them actually helped me improve and learn more about golf than just playing golf did. So I think when it comes to fighting games, there is something to be said about like sticking to one game at a time and learning the core mechanics of that. But stretching your muscles and trying out something new, I think can definitely help you get a better grasp on the fundamentals as a whole as to how fighting games are played. So yeah, if you're somebody who's also kind of like a casual trying to get into fighting games, try out some new fighting games out there. It might help you improve when you come back to your main game. Similar to how Thorgi has done here.
Hard work pays off. And when they announced a few weeks ago that this game was coming back with brand new content, I put on the soundtrack, heard the lobby theme kick in, and I just had the warmest smile on my face. This game will always be special to me, no matter how much they insist on breaking the game with each new patch. You guys know that nerfs are okay sometimes, right? Number 4.
Yep.
Smash
Ultimate?
4, yeah. Yeah, Ultimate. God damn it.
Super Smash Brothers Ultimate.
Everybody is here.
I love crossover games. Should be obvious
Ultimate's
by now.
fun.
And this is the
It's
most
a lot of
crossover
fun.
game of all time. And it's not just because of the whole "everyone is here" theme that was the biggest mic drop of any modern day fighting game announcement at the
Honestly,
time. Although I should point out, you might have
for real.
noticed I put every other Smash Bros on this list except for Smash Bros for the Wii U. Yeah, that's because there was no reason to. This game came out, and with that single announcement, they erased that game from existence. And it's not just because of all the new characters that they add, although I have to say about 90% of the new characters added were total bangers. Perfect choices to complement this already massive roster.
game
And it's
was
not just
impressive for so many different reasons. Just the sheer ability to go back and get the licenses for the characters that they had previously, which some of which were ones that were difficult to get originally, and then the magnitude of different characters in different games that they were able to pull into this, and just how much love Sakurai can put into just one game and his team. It's phenomenal.
I mean, it's straight up like a cultural milestone. Smash Ultimate means so much more outside of fighting games and outside of gaming as a whole.
because of all the new guest
Yeah.
characters, although I will say
I feel
it
like
felt
it
like
doesn't matter who you are. If you like video games, there's a reveal trailer somewhere in here that got you beyond stoked.
Yep, I wouldn't be surprised if that were the case. Even people who don't play video games. You know, just the idea of it is
Yeah.
kind of cool.
Sakurai had a checklist of every criteria he could hit with those guest characters, and he chose the perfect additions for each of them to make sure that everyone
Except
got
for
at
maybe
least somebody
Violet,
that
I'm
would make
afraid.
them happy. I mean, hell, I said earlier, I'm a massive Persona fan. The moment
Three Houses discussions aside, just using one of the DLC slots for another Fire Emblem character was a choice.
Fire Emblem has so many games in it. It's been one of like their long-standing properties, so it makes sense that there's a lot of Fire Emblem characters. I don't play Smash myself, so I don't understand the discourse. But you know, another sword character or whatever, people will probably say.
It should just say is underwhelming for what everything else Smash was doing at the time.
Yeah, I guess maybe the timing between like DLC characters, like everything was a smash hit, and then you know Violet is there, the expected Fire Emblem character.
announced Joker for this game, I started to tear up. And the fact that I'm sure so many of you
That-
watching this right now
yeah.
got at least
Not only
one
just blew
announcement.
people's minds at that reveal, but that just basically meant anything that we assumed could be a Smash reveal, like any character that we thought could get in, there was no limit anymore. Like if Joker from Persona 5 could get put in Smash Bros, anyone could be in Smash Bros.
That is an interesting thought process considering how many things Joker is in, and he's kind of like an expected crossover character, but
That wasn't the case back then. And also, the thing was, everyone sat down and was like, okay, well, the one constant is they had to have been on a Nintendo console. Persona 5, at that point, had never been on a Nintendo console.
yeah.
So everyone was like, we just straight up just have a Sony character in Smash Bros. That's what people started, well, what about Master Chief? It's a Microsoft exclusive. People never thought we could get those characters. But it's like, okay, no, you know, like all of a sudden people's dreams, like any wishlist character they could think of was a possibility, which made all the future trailers so much more hype, right? Anyone could be in those trailers. Things like Banjo-Kazooie then, who was a Microsoft exclusive character, could get into that game. And so having that reveal trailer then blew people away. Like anything was possible after that point.
For this game that gave you a similar reaction is magical. No, none of that is why I'm saying this is the greatest crossover game in history, because anyone with a fat enough wallet can just buy up characters and slap them in a game. I mean, hell, Fortnite technically has more characters in it than any other video game
put
could.
into it. Just 100%. I've said before, Fortnite, it's cool that Fortnite can do so much crossover stuff that it can, but you just don't see the attention to detail and the love that you do in something like Smash Bros. And that's not to put Fortnite down. That's just how much you could see the Smash Bros. Team loved video games.
characters in it than any other video game could possibly hope to match, but you'll never catch me calling that a great crossover game. And that's because what Super Smash Bros. Ultimate has that is so necessary for a good crossover is heart. Every character has so many details in their animations that feel like they were designed by people who knew them inside and out. Each character got special arcade ladders with themes around them that was made to reflect these characters' histories and their individual games. Luigi fighting spooky monster-themed characters to be a reference to the running joke about him being afraid all the time. Terry Bogard going up against pre-established three-person teams like it's KOF. Joker challenging shadowy characters, and then after he defeats them, he gets to use them as assist in the next battle like he just recruited them as personas. It is nothing short of genius how they made each of these arcade ladders work. And the fact that so many of these arcade ladders ended with special boss fights was just the cherry on top. These bosses are just as cool as the actual playable characters. Simon Belmont being in Smash is great,
Ocarina of Time,
but Simon Belmont being in Smash and having a special fight against Dracula, you are now cooking on a level not previously thought possible. And then the spirits, everyone saw these spirits and said, oh, you couldn't make trophies this time, so now we just get a bunch of PNGs of the characters. But then you jumped into the game, and you went to challenge a spirit, and you saw that out of these hundreds and hundreds of spirits, every single one of them had a unique fight using the resources already in the game so that the fight would pay tribute to what the spirit was. I cannot imagine how hard these devs had to think about all of this to make that work. I can't tell you how many times I challenged a spirit, saw what the theme was, and my jaw dropped as I realized how this weird collection of assets actually made a perfect tribute to even the most obscure of characters. And then there's all the assist trophies and the items and the stages and the music, which wasn't just a collection of tracks from other games. So many tracks are brand new renditions of these songs, with many of them being my favorite version of them. But beyond all that, just think about those reveals. Think about how every single month there was some brand new trailer that all of us sat down and collectively watched and freaked out about.
There is nothing anymore quite like a Smash reveal. Like, the level of hype and excitement for a Smash reveal, I don't know that we could ever meet again.
I definitely think the love and care and attention that they put into implementing the character itself into the game definitely has a lot to do with why people are hyped, because they know for a fact that, you know, the character, an unexpected character or maybe a character on their wish list that they never thought could get in, could be in the Smash reveal, and the adaptation is going to knock it out of the park.
No, 100%.
Out together. I cannot tell you of another fighting game that united players around the world like this game did over and over and over again, and I don't know if we're ever going to see something like that again. This was truly a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate isn't just a crossover game. This is video games, the game, made by people who love the hell out of this entire medium. And now we have finally reached the top 3. And this, okay, I know I have said that this whole list was tough and I kept moving stuff up and down at the last minute, but nowhere is that more true than with these top 3. Depending on what day of the week it is, every single one of these games could be my number 1. But if I had to put these games in some kind of an order, this is how it would go. At number 3,
Street Fighter 6. I've only ever heard praise about World Tour mode, so gotta get to it someday.
Street Fighter 6.
Some of you might have thought this game was too new to make it this high on the list, but you really should have seen it coming because I already told you it would be here. Remember at the end of our Street Fighter retrospective? And speaking personally, one of my favorite fighting games of all time. No kidding, this is easily in my top 5 favorite fighting games ever. Yep, that's how I felt at the start of the year, and it hasn't changed since then. Street Fighter is possibly my favorite fighting game franchise, and after being so disillusioned with Street Fighter V, I seriously thought, you know, maybe Street Fighter just isn't for me anymore. Maybe my tastes have changed, maybe we've gone our separate ways, maybe I'm just not really into Street Fighter like I used to be. And then Street Fighter 6 came out, and I cannot imagine a game hitting a bigger home run than this.
That's so funny.
Yes. Yes, it does.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And she punches you for hella damage. She's a really cool character.
It's amazing, yeah.
What's amazing, the new cast of characters is the best collection of new characters since Street Fighter 3. World Tour is a treat for longtime Street Fighter fans and one of the most ambitious single-player modes in any fighting game ever, as well as being the perfect training mode for brand new players who want to...
Did Thorgi make himself in the game? Because that looks a lot like him.
Game ever, as well as...
Yeah. That's awesome.
Being the perfect training mode for brand new players who want to play a video game instead of sitting in a white grid and doing the exact same combo over and over again. The Battle Hub is easily my favorite lobby in any fighting game ever. But above all else, more important than all of that together, the combat is my favorite in any Street Fighter. And
I love CC characters. I don't care what people say.
CC characters?
Custom character.
Yeah.
Create your own characters.
I gotta say, I have seen some cursed shit in some of the screenshots for this game. People try to make the worst looking character they can possible, and the game allows you to do so. To
be honest, can I admit something to the fighting game community that may disappoint many of you?
Sure.
I bought Jump Force back in the day because I wanted to fuck around with the CC characters. Like, I wanted to just... Worst $60 I ever spent because I bought it full price.
Oh,
and
boy.
I have not touched it since then.
Not gonna lie, I forgot that game existed.
I mean, that's good. It's best to forget it. But...
Actually, what even was the issue with Jump Force? Because I don't know anything about it. I just know it died.
It was ugly as sin, played terrible, had like an abysmal just aesthetic vibe. Like nothing about it was good.
Gotcha. Rest in peace.
Like you could see like all the One Piece characters, because this came out after Burning Blood, was just like watered down versions that they just copied from Burning Blood. Like all their moves and everything.
So it wasn't even a market improvement, more so a downgrade.
No, it was 100% a downgrade.
Damn.
In any fighting game, period. The drive system is such a good mechanic, I can't picture Street Fighter after this without bringing that back. The number of defensive and offensive options it gives you is incredible. It takes every mechanic from the history of this franchise and found a way to make them all work together. Some people say it's overpowered or the drive rushes are too good, and I repeat what I said about the Marvel games. The best fighting games always have something busted. And I started this whole list off by saying I think it's impossible to rank the objectively best fighting games of all time.
I forget his name. There's like this green monster-like dude from Street Fighter who has like electricity powers. That's one of his dolls, essentially, or somebody dressing up as him in a costume.
I love it.
Because everyone is going to have their own rhythm, their own pace and
fun.
speed when it comes to combat, and because of that, different fighting games are just going to sync up with different people.
This game actually looks much better than I thought Street Fighter 6 did, just thinking about it. Like when I saw trailers for it and stuff.
Yeah.
It actually looks much better now that I'm actually looking at gameplay than I thought it would. I would actually go so far as to say it looks really nice.
That was something I was a little bit surprised on when you remarked about that during our King of Fighters character design ranks video. Because I believe there was a section where you talked about how, it's sort of muddy, sort of like the Street Fighter 6 models. And I'm like, are we talking about the same thing? Maybe you were thinking of Street Fighter 5 at that point, or as you said, just has like a different image.
It's very possible that I have confused Street Fighter 5 and 6 in my head. Because I don't play Street Fighter, and I kind of... It's very likely that I have just muddled those two together in my brain.
Because while I haven't played this game yet, seeing gameplay of it at EVO or like just people talking about it and playing the game, the fact that you can just see like the character's muscles move along with a punch is kind of insane. and with a 3D model too, no less.
Mhm.
I think the fidelity
yeah.
for this game is kind of off the charts, and they probably learned a lot
This game
from
looked really good.
Street Fighter V and that initial fuck up.
Well, that's
So,
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
You like to see it.
Playing Street Fighter 6, I realized, oh my god, this is my rhythm. This combat syncs up with my own timing and pacing better than any modern fighting game I've played. It's fast, but not too fast. It's aggressive, but not too aggressive. It's just right. This is my Goldilocks game.
Ah, there he is.
And I think that's
Blanco.
because,
That's his
again,
name.
the drive system lets me
I haven't played
decide
it before.
how I want to play each character. With several other games on this list, I mentioned that I love them because they made me want to take each character into arcade mode. This is the only
That character
fighting
looks
game
a
I
lot
have
like the JoJo's character that I've seen around.
Oh, you mean the protagonist of Part 6, I'd assume?
The
You talking
female
about...
JoJo that I've seen pictures
Yeah,
of.
yeah. I can see that. The costume is kind of similar with Juri, or at least her costume in this game.
ever played where I want to take each character online. Normally, I find my main and I stick with them, and then maybe I'll try out a handful of other characters. But the way each character felt, and more importantly, the way the online is structured specifically to make you want to keep playing with the individual ranks and the rank streak bonuses, it made me want to get a character to platinum where the rank streak bonus would end. Then I would learn the next character, get them to platinum, and repeat. On and on and on. After Street Fighter V, where I spent 7 years saying, will this be the character that I want to take online? And the answer was always no. To now go to Street Fighter VI, where the answer is always yes, is phenomenal. And it is amazing to me that this late into my
The
fighting
cathartic
game
feeling,
playing
That's
yeah.
life,
awesome.
I can still find
Yeah.
a brand new game out there that can get me that hooked. Listen, I literally did a 3-hour-long video on Street Fighter 6, and it didn't need to be that long. I could easily have cut some stuff out of there. But I just wanted to keep talking about it because I loved it so much. The only reason why this game isn't at number 1 is because it's still so new. It's not even 3 years old at this point. Most of the other games in the top 10 are over a decade. So there is that part of me that says, yeah, but what if you get tired of it one day? What if this is still just a really long honeymoon phase? So yes, I'm laying cooler heads prevail on this one and putting it at number 3. But if in 5 or 10 years I decide to revisit this list, we'll stop and see where it is then. I got a pretty good feeling it's going to hold up okay. Number 2.
What is this?
Have no idea.
Ah, Darkstalkers. Okay. Makes sense. Oh, God. That tiny child is evil.
Darkstalkers. This is probably going to be the most controversial entry on this entire list
She's
because
a
I'm
bee.
lumping all the Darkstalkers games together. Darkstalkers, Night Warriors, Vampire
All of it.
Savior, Vampire Hunters 2, Vampire Saviors 2, Darkstalkers Chronicles, The Chaos Tower, that PS2 collection that had that special ending with D. Because when you get right down to it, there's really only 2 Darkstalkers games. Darkstalkers and Vampire Savior, and everything else is just a variation of one of those two. Which is one of the reasons why I'm lumping them all together, because despite multiple entries, there really are just 2 core games. But the main reason I'm putting them all into one spot is because when I think about what I love about this franchise, it's not one game. I can't look at Darkstalkers or Vampire Savior and say, ah, yes, that's the one that made me love this franchise. Don't get me wrong, Vampire Saviors is definitely the better game. It's not even a question. If I had to pick only one of these 2 to put in here, it'd be Vampire Saviors. But if you've been with us for a while, then you know how important this entire franchise is to me. And if Darkstalkers had like 6 games to its name, then yeah, I would gladly divide them up. But since they really only have 2, yeah, I can't choose which one is more important to me, which one is the bigger reason for me
BB
loving
Hood.
this series. Also, I'd really like to live in that world that had the 6 Darkstalkers games. I'm pretty sure that's the better reality. But why do
Yeah,
I love this franchise?
honestly.
Well, I know everyone is going to say it's because of the characters, because that's the number one thing that most people think of when they picture Darkstalkers. But it's not. Although I should point out, that definitely plays a part in it. As I have pointed out several times, when I was a kid, I loved fighting games and I love monsters. So you better believe when I was a kid and the guys who were making those Street Fighter and Mega Man games I love so much put out a game that was a big tribute to classic Universal monsters, oh hell yeah, I was on board with that game instantly. But the game wasn't just, hey, it's a bunch of monsters. Each of these characters had amazing designs and so much personality and even a bit of a rebellious tone to them. They were such imaginative and memorable takes on these classic monsters that immediately stuck in your heads. And I feel that has to be pointed out because do you know how many other games out there have tried to fill the Darkstalkers gap? Do you know how many other games have tried to make a classic monsters fighting game?
I mean, we saw that indie game way earlier on in the list, right? With a cool style to it. Yeah. That, a tribute to old horror movies, as well as very likely inspired by Darkstalkers as a concept. It just, unfortunately, I don't feel like there's really anything out there that has reached the heights of Darkstalkers. And I can kind of understand it because of, I guess, the tone of the game as well. It is just... It's fun. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It has its own unique flavor.
Something I've noticed with a lot of games especially, there's a difference between having like a really good artist design a character and having a really good character designer design a character. Because you can have a character that is like very well made, like a beautiful model, like good art, but there's kind of nothing special about them, right? I feel like when you look at the Darkstalkers characters, they are all characters. They are things that you can walk away from and remember. Like Morgan, like Felicia, like they're things that are iconic and just define them as characters, not just whatever monster they represent, right?
I think that's undeniable because people who don't even know about Darkstalkers as a series know about these characters and remember them.
Well, it's like you can see a picture of like, we saw like the Frankenstein character earlier on screen, and it's like you could see 3 different Frankensteins standing next to each other, and odds are they're all going to look very similar. But the Darkstalkers looking character, you could pick them out of a bunch of them, right?
He's got personality. It is recognizable as a Frankenstein character, but easily identifiable as being from Darkstalkers.
And how many of those did you see on this list? I didn't see Omen of Sorrow anywhere, did you? And it's because nobody else really gets it. You can't just put monsters in a fighting game and call it a day. They have to have a personality, and a personality that appeals to all the weirdos out there like me that want a monster fighting game. And to this day, we still see so many people doing fan art and cosplays of these characters. I would be willing to say that we see more fan art for Darkstalkers today than we did all throughout the previous 3 decades combined. For characters from a game that's been dead for 25 years to still get this much fan art is unheard of. We just got a brand new Tekken and a brand new Mortal Kombat just 2 years ago, and this game, which hasn't gotten a new installment since before most of you were born, still gets more fan art than both of those games combined. Something about these characters just stick with people. And then we get to the animations. These games were gorgeously animated. Go frame by frame, and it is stunning what they were able to do in a game that was made back in the 90s. They decided to take these big, vicious, monstrous creatures of the night and then animate them like they're cartoon characters. And I mean that literally. They decided to study Hanna-Barbera cartoons to get an idea of how to animate them, and these games would not be what they are without that.
A little bit of background on what you just saw. I believe Lilith over here has a super that makes your opponent play a mini game. That's like a game show, and they have to press the right buttons in the right order in order to pass, or else they take damage. Yeah. Also, I don't know if Thorgi's got to show it. The Frankenstein dude that you mentioned earlier, he has a command grab where he clenches you with his butt cheeks.
Oh no.
On stream, live, during an actual match, I did that to Kane.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever recovered ever since then.
I'm going to watch that later. That sounds hilarious.
I can go through the Darkstalker stream and I'll link it to you after we finish recording here. It was great. I loved playing this game.
That sounds amazing.
Yes!
What is that?
Yes!
What is that?
Yes! I win!
What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing?
They had so many different characters, and they had to find a shared tone to bring them all together, and this was a brilliant idea. Because when I think about what I love about this cast, it isn't that they're dark and gloomy and serious and morbid and scary.
No, not at all.
No, it's how totally bonkers and goofy they are. Having your eyes bug
the
out
gap.
when you get
Everyone
hit by an
loves the
attack,
gap.
getting your body scorched like Daffy Duck when you catch fire, supers where you turn your opponent into a basketball or into some tiny little goblin or whatever the hell they're doing in Midnight Blitz.
Oh man, I love this guy so much for that. Yeah, he does turn you into a basketball. Just slams you down. I don't recall if I won a match with that. I tried to do it so hard. It's so much fun. I also believe, like, was this character like one of the first air dashers in fighting games? I
this
feel like I
game's
learned a
old,
fun
so I
fact like
believe
that.
it.
Yeah.
No other sprite-based game at this time was doing anything like this. But beyond the characters and the attitude and the animations and the art style, we have to talk about the gameplay, because that is such a big part of why these games got this high on the list. Throughout this entire list, all 98 other games so far, what did I keep saying was one of the most important things to me about a game? The combat in here is so quick. Know how to make mobility feel good. The mobility in this game is great. The speed, how much you can maneuver around in combat. The mobility was perfect. Best in the entire franchise. The speed and the agility of the combat. I have been a broken record talking about how speed and mobility are one of the main things that I judge fighting games on. So why am I so obsessed with that in particular? Because when I was a kid and I picked up Darkstalkers for the first time, it wasn't like anything else I had played. It was so much faster. Being able to block in the air created this whole new dynamic that encouraged aggression and going in on the opponent. The target combos made the gameplay so much quicker. And then we get to Vampire Savior, where they take that speed and ramp it through the freaking roof. And from there, I just couldn't go back. That's why I can't split these games up. Because yes, I love the characters and the animations, and that's the same throughout this entire series. But the actual gameplay, while being different between Darkstalkers 1 and Vampire Savior, both still focus so much on a level of speed and agility that I hadn't seen before. And the 1-2 punch of these two games molded my perception of fighting games from that point forward. The Darkstalkers franchise as a whole has to be at the number 2 spot on my list, because this series defined what I would come to love about fighting games for the rest of my life. And now, at long last,
what is number
my
one?
number one fighting game of all time.
Capcom.
This is the tournament for the new millennium. You'll experience the most exciting battle in history. Let's get ready to battle. Feel the intensity when power
Capcom versus SNK.
the competition. A battle beyond your imagination. Let the martial arts madness begin. 2001 is the year we make contact. Welcome to the revolution.
Capcom versus SNK.
Capcom versus SNK2.
Heard great
Mark
things
of
about
the
this.
Millennium 2001.
This game hits every single checkmark for me that we have talked about throughout this entire show. Roster, stunning, one of the biggest of all time. Yes, I know people complain that it's just fighting game characters, mostly Street Fighter on the Capcom side, but I'm cool with that because to me, Capcom vs. SNK should be a celebration of the rivalry between these two studios. And what were they rivals in? Fighting games. Nobody was out here comparing Resident Evil and Metal Slug. They were comparing Street Fighter and King of Fighters. I'm cool with this. The soundtrack, top tier. I already said my number 1 and number 2 soundtracks. Guess what my number 3 is? Right here. Everybody talks about True Love We're Making, but you guys are sleeping on the rest of this soundtrack. Every single track is a banger. Graphics, amazing sprite work. Yes, a ton of them are recycled from the alpha games, but all the new ones look great. Presentation, I have so much love for the art style of the yellow squares flying around and the whole game shaped like a news broadcast. And that announcer is one of the best fighting game announcers ever. The crossover element, for a straight up meat and potatoes fighting game with no real unique modes and no arcade endings, this still goes all in.
Ooh.
The special interactions between certain characters is so charming. I've mentioned this several times, but this was the game that really introduced me to the world of SNK, and these intros made me want to know more about these characters. The combat? I do not know a single thing that I am doing in this game. This was always a game that I played for fun, not for glory. But I do not care. It feels amazing. Even just landing a single hit feels like it's got such heft and impact behind it. And the speed and
art styles.
I mean, yeah. When it comes to these like crossover games, it's usually going to be a copy paste from the other game.
The reused sprites are strong, but that's okay.
Hey, the game's still fun, right? Same dealio with BB Tag too. I still enjoy BB Tag a lot, despite that.
I'm running out of ways to say perfect. Just moving in this game feels smoother than in almost any other game from this time period. And I've talked about how much I enjoy gameplay that gives you expression, that lets each player show off their own style, and the groove system and the ratio system are literally that. 18 people can choose the exact same character, and they're all going to be completely different before each player even puts their hands on the controller. Are the groove systems balanced? No, not at all. Do I care? Absolutely not. I still love messing around with different characters and different grooves. Secrets and unlockables? Shinakuma and
I mean, a perfectly balanced fighting game? I don't know how fun that would be to play. Not gonna lie. Everybody playing the exact same character with the exact same buttons and one playstyle?
Yeah.
Omega Rugal are the best secret final bosses in fighting game history. I will die on that hill, and I will probably die up there because I was killed by Shinakuma and Omega Rugal, because holy crap, those are some hard-ass final bosses. But they're hard in the exact way that a secret final boss should be. And lastly, nostalgia. I've told this story before, but when I got to college, I found a group of friends who wanted to come over and play fighting games each week. So I started looking around for brand new games for us to try, and I went to the game store, looked around the discount bin for the cheapest used fighting game I could find, got a copy of this for the GameCube, knowing nothing about it, and this became our new obsession. We met up constantly to play this. Other people who didn't even play fighting games started popping their heads into the dorm to watch us play because that funky music and awesome cast of characters got people to come from all over. We started looking up moves on GameFAQs so that way we could see every single character's super. We started trying out every different combination of characters. And the first time that we saw lightning on the end screen and got that Akuma and Rugal cutscene, we lost our freaking mind. A genuine amazing surprise that hadn't been spoiled for any of us. And I already said it, but I have to repeat it. I knew Fatal Fury. I knew Terry Bogard. I didn't really know any other SNK characters. But playing this game made me want to learn. Each of them were so cool, I needed to know more about just what SNK was and who these characters were. This was the game that started me down the path of being an SNK fan. This is the only game on this entire list that can hit every single spot on my criteria, and it hits them hard. Like I said, it is next to impossible for me to choose which of the top 3 games on here is my actual true number 1. But if I had to look at each of these games and give them a score in each of these respective categories, there is no question Capcom vs. SNK 2 would be at the top. Well, somehow we managed to do it.
Yeah.
We managed to get to the end of all of this.
A lot of fighting games.
And what did we learn? Well, I for one learned that if you're going to record a top 100 list, then make sure that you have lots of tea and lozenges around. Pour one out for my throat, everybody. But I think
yeah, especially for the longer recording sessions, it does sort of wear on you. You get used to it, but initially, oh, Jesus. Even nowadays.
Flashbacks to the 11 hours of recording for them.
Oh. For the character designer X King of Fighters 15 characters, yeah.
Oh boy.
Ooh. We did a lot of talking too, but I learned a lot about a lot of new fighting games I'd never seen before and things I'd be interested in checking out. So, hey, I'm happy.
The real thing that I learned today is that the fighting game world is vast, and there's so many titles out there that I have a lot of love for, and so many of them I still haven't talked about on this channel, which means I'm not going to run out of games to cover for a long time.
Probably
Thank
forever.
you all so much for sticking with this channel. Whether you just joined or you've been here from the start, I really do appreciate all of you getting me to this point. If I had another hour, I wouldn't be able to thank everyone and tell you all how much
I recognize quite a few
to me.
names from this list, actually.
But after talking for this long, I
thanks for
definitely
supporting
do
our
not
channel, too.
have
That's
another
awesome.
hour left in me. So let me wrap up by just saying thank you to everyone
You love to
one
see the
last
love
time.
being shared
Let me know
around.
what you thought about this list today. Let me know what games are your favorites down below. And remember, you can find me around the web on my socials, which are in the
this has been
description
a
down
fun
below,
list.
as
I
well as a link
definitely
to our Patreon. You
piqued my interest with a few new games in here.
Definitely. Reminds me of some that we need to get to. Lets me know of things that we should be getting to at some point. A lot of really cool indie titles out
Looks
there,
at
too.
Steam on my other monitor with the Gigabash.
Yeah, mine's on there, too. we should try that out, just for funsies. It's not even
We
that
should.
expensive,
It
too.
looks fun.
Yeah.
can go to our Patreon, sign up to get early looks at videos and other bonuses, and you will
Support
also find
Thorgi.
the links to all the different artists who did work for this thumbnail today.
Support the artists,
Make sure
too.
that you go and follow them as well. They're all
Yeesh.
wonderful people. The patrons are wonderful people. You're all wonderful people. Thank you again for all the support. Thank
Everyone
you
is
again for
wonderful
everything you
people.
guys do. Stay safe out there, and come back next time.
But Serby, if everyone is wonderful, then no one is. No!
I just tried to scroll down the Discord to read the comments.
I mean, I can do a quick check, a quick look see. Do we have anything interesting here?
Just my innate reaction when I finish a good video is to scroll down. I'm like, wait, I'm in Discord.
The Rumblefish. The Rumblefish. Bold choice to make all 100 entries the Rumblefish, Mr. Thorgi. They don't even play fighting games, they just like how your passion about them flows through the videos. Exactly. 100%. A million percent.
True, yeah. I don't play a lot of fighting games, but I love being able to experience them through this.
Yeah. Like the passion as well as the storytelling within these videos themselves is just amazing for any casuals getting into it. It makes something that is normally seen as unapproachable just generally enjoyable, even without playing the games themselves. So yeah, massive feat here. Congratulations once again on the 100K. I've really enjoyed this list and learning about all these different games. Ooh. But all right, dudes. I think we're going to wrap things up here. Unless if there's something else you want to add here, Serby.
No, I just have fun.
I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah.
But all right, my dudes. For plans in the future of things we're going to be checking out next, should probably do a Darkstalkers video, as well as the retrospective on that. Samurai Showdown, definitely sometime in the future. Probably after Darkstalkers. Oh, and I can't forget, the Core Gaming video on rollback netcode. As well as Core Gaming has like a ton of other videos too that we could potentially check on the future. So we might take some recording time to check some of those out as well. Learn more about fighting games as a whole. That could be fun. But yeah, outside of that, that's going to do it for today. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Hope you guys enjoyed your time here. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. And Serby and I will catch you guys in the next one. Later, dudes.
Bye-bye.